God of War 2018 was one of the most critically acclaimed games of its time, and while the sequel has been delayed a number of times, it seems to finally be dropping in a couple months for the PS4, PS5, and eventually the PC, assuming the leaks are true. Now, we know the sequel will carry on from the 2018 game story and focus heavily on Norse mythology and wrap up our Kratos adventure in Norse mythology, but the exact plot details are obviously unconfirmed as of right now. Welcome to VideoGameLeaks, everybody. This is a spicy one. Now, if you don't want to be spoiled, if you want to go into this campaign with eyes wide open and you've never seen anything, you should probably click off the video. Because today, we are going to go over the alleged plot leak that has dropped. And it's pretty detailed, and I'll give you my opinion on it at the end of the video. So drop a like, make sure you guys are subscribed fully, and once again, this is your spoiler alert. So, the identity of the leaker cannot be confirmed. The thread, though, it was extremely elaborate, and if you know me, you know I'm usually more inclined to believe the longer leaks. The more detailed the leak, the less likely it is somebody just BSing. That being said, I want to talk about this huge plot leak so you can take it all with a grain of salt, because the subreddit seems to already have written this one off, but honestly, I think there may be some truth to it. I'm also going to go ahead and throw a giant spoiler warning one more time, because if it ends up being true, I'm basically about to spoil the entire story. So proceed with caution. Also, going forward, keep in mind that Ragnarök basically refers to the destruction of Asgard and more or less the end of the world. I know most of you know that, but I'm saying it here just so we're all on the same page while going through this plot leak, which I'm going to read word for word. All right, here we go. The alleged plot leak reads thus. Atreus has been finding some small ball-shaped things around the forest left by Fae, where they hunted in the past 3 years, each with the name of some Norse character which is alive and plays a role in Ragnarök. The journey kicks off when Atreus finds one with Tyr. Now, the journey is basically recruiting and assessing who will be ready for Ragnarök when the time comes. There's a huge war between the light and the dark elves in Alfheim, that's going to be pretty cool. Alfheim? Did I say that right? Alfheim? The light elves are more on the side of Aesir, and are attempting to completely wipe out the dark elves. Kratos and Atreus go to Anaheim to reason with Freyr, who is Freya's brother. The two go to Muspelheim and find Surtur, who ends up being killed by Thor but has a daughter who plays a role in Ragnarök. I apologize for some of these words that I'm butchering. I'm not the best with Norse mythology pronunciations. So Thor and Freya are the main recurring villains, while Odin is actually disguised as the dwarf Durlin in Svartalfheim. Now, keeping an eye on the imprisoned Tyr, I don't freaking know, who is being held beneath the realm. Now, our 3 boss fights with Thor. The first of which is in Kratos' house, which is where we ended on the first one. The second is in Vanaheim alongside Freya. The third will be in Asgard. The Odin boss fight comes at the end of the game and is a more psychological than physical fight, whatever that means. Odin's design is very different from Zeus, being a hooded old man who looks similar to Baldur and relies on magic more than brute strength. It's also worth noting that in this timeline, Odin has already killed Fenrir. Now Tyr will fight Kratos when he's freed from prison, but the reasoning is interesting. Apparently, he thinks Kratos is some kind of trick created by Odin meant to torture, meaning Kratos has to defeat him without killing or seriously wounding him. Then, at the end of the fight, we'll get that part from the trailer where Kratos asks him if he will fight beside him. Now, eventually, Odin reveals himself and captures Loki, killing Brock and injuring Sindri. And Kratos, all of them in the process. Kratos then goes to Asgard, and the first boss fight there will be with Heimdall. That sucks. The final fight with Thor and Asgard is actually around the middle of the game, so Thor is not the final boss. Kratos goes to save Atreus, who has been captured and is being tortured by Odin, but slowly pouring venom drop by drop on his forehead. That's going to be gnarly. And then Thor kills Whoremonger, damages the axe, and is going to kill Kratos when suddenly Atreus triggers a Spartan Rage and summons a new Whoremonger, which is a mural scene of Atreus giving birth to a serpent. This is really weird. This thing poisoning kills Thor, but the God of Thunder manages to strike it with a fully powered Mjolnir, and the attack is so powerful that it branches the game into 3 different sections, while also sending the Whoremonger to a new time before the 2018 game, restoring his appearance to how he looked in that game. Once again, don't really know how to pronounce that name. I know I'm absolutely butchering this. I apologize, guys. Kratos ends up in a time before he met Faye, and the two actually have a battle, meaning we get to see the Blades of Chaos versus the axe. That is going to be awesome. During the fight, Kratos tries to reason with her, and eventually Faye understands, and they go peacefully together to Jotunheimer. Now, the two of them are able to talk to the giants and convince them to fight alongside them during Ragnarök, as it's the only way they'll survive. With all this happening, Atreus is transported to a time after Faye consults with the giants, and we finally get to play as the son of Kratos. A giant forges the broken axe with the broken Mjolnir, and Atreus then meets Angerboda, who acts as a companion during the Atreus gameplay sections. So Angerboda will have links to Egypt as the daughter of Anuke, and eventually Atreus meets up with Faye and Kratos, linking their stories together. So the three of them then travel to the God of War 2018's time by using the rune they took from the Normirs, and each Normir is its own boss fight, and the leaker claims these are some of the best in the game. Eventually, Atreus and Kratos have to leave Faye in a very emotional scene, at which point Faye gives Kratos the axe. They time travel, and from here on out, the player can freely switch between playing as Kratos and his son, which that's going to be really cool. And eventually, they do battle with Fenrir in Hell, and Fenrir almost kills Atreus before he's suddenly saved by Tyr, although his hands get chopped off. They then tame Fenrir with a magical chain created by Sindri, and then they all travel back to the main game's timeline so they can kill Odin. This is insane. By the time they get back to the main timeline, a massive battle in Asgard is broken out following the death of Thor. Kratos and Atreus do battle with the powerful Valkyrie, wing-infused Freya, who also brings Baldur back to life as some kind of reanimated corpse, although eventually Atreus is able to kill both Freya and the zombie Baldur. Zombie Baldur is going to be awesome. Kratos then has a psychological fight with Odin, defeats him, allowing him to acquire Odin's magic spear. However, before Odin dies, he awakens the Nidhogg dragon from the Splinted World Tree, and ultimately, Fenrir is the one who kills Odin, not Kratos. At that point, this Nidhogg triggers the start of Ragnarök, and it looks like the world is about to end. However, when all hope seems lost, there is a giant Avengers Endgame style re-entrance of the Dark Elves, the Light Elves, the Valkyries, Sindri, and all the dragons that Kratos helped, and they all join forces to fight back. After an epic battle, Kratos kills this thing, prevents Ragnarök from coming to fruition. So the game ends with the 9 realms merging into one giant world, and Jotunheimer is the central mountain. Atreus is named the new king of the giants, but instead, he frees everybody and preaches harmony and freedom instead of being any kind of god or king-ruled system, which makes Kratos proud. Later, Tyr asks Kratos for a favor in return for saving Loki from Fenrir, foreshadowing a sequel set in Egypt. Kratos goes on to a new quest, but only after he spends some proper time with his son, which I thought was a nice touch. There are 2 in-game sequences, one involving Atreus dreaming of waking up and seeing his daughter named Hel, and the other involving a brief look at a desolated Egypt. Now, in regards to gameplay, the leaker claims that along with the Blades of Chaos and the axe, Kratos will receive a shield upgrade that makes it usable as a weapon, and there will be a number of shields that are designed to counter different combat styles. Kratos also gets Gungnir by the end of the game, allowing him to use magic to some extent. Atreus is playable from the middle of the game onwards, uses a bow and arrow as well as runic summons, and he also has access to the new hybrid weapon forged from the broken Mjolnir and axe. Now, the leaker claims there's 15 total boss fights, and it will take 55 to 60 hours to complete. There you go. That was a lot. Let me know what you guys think. Sounds pretty detailed to me. I'll see you soon.